Alrighty, I believe that we are indeed live. Yes, we are. Alrighty. Hello, everybody. I'm actually going to put in the left AirPod instead, because that's going to help me out a little bit. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the 2025 NHL Trade Deadline. We're now live. It is 8:03 a.m. My God, we are in for a bumpy, crazy next 6 hours and 56 minutes. 6 hours 55 minutes now. Yeah, I'm warning you guys now. I'm running off of about 19 hours of being awake straight. By the end of the stream, I will have been up for about 28 hours, because we are going until 4 p.m. The trade deadline's at 3, but trades are always rolling in until about 4 o'clock, maybe 4:30, somewhere around there. So, yeah. We've got some stuff to talk about. We've got some trades. We've had one trade today. We thought we were going to have another one, Mikko Rantanen, which we're going to discuss in a little bit. But we had a plethora of trades all throughout the week, including the Yanni Gourde trade, which we'll talk about, because that's a doozy right there. But yeah, so like I said, we are here, we're live. I'm just going to ping my Discord. I apologize that I have not uploaded in about a month. I should clarify this right off the top of the show. I have not uploaded in a month. That's because I was waiting for some packages to arrive, and one of them has. I have 2 DVD hauls that I'm going to be doing soon. 365 days, 365 movies, which I will record soon. I keep planning to, and then I keep forgetting about it. I've been doing it. I've been tracking it. I just keep forgetting to do it. And, of course, we'll be doing a little bit more Habs content. I haven't been doing the reviews as often and the podcast, because whenever I do the podcast, it feels like we start losing. So I'm holding off on doing the pods and the game reviews and the game recaps and all that stuff. So obviously that really has nothing to do with me, but I feel like it is. So I'm not doing the game recaps and game stuff right now. So yeah, if you guys are coming by, say hi in the chat, and I will say hello back. We've got a couple things early on in the day that we do have to talk about. Of course, we will be updating everybody here live with the latest and greatest updates for the NHL Trade Deadline. We've got Brock Nelson, of course, being traded to the Colorado Avalanche. We've got Mikko Rantanen possibly being traded to Dallas. That apparently is still up in the air. And yeah, I just realized I have the donation goal from like a year and a half ago. That's the one thing I forgot to take off the stream. Everything else I was perfectly good at resetting, except for the dono goal. Yeah. Let's start with Darren Dreger putting out, because it was coming out very early hours of the morning, about 1 o'clock, that, maybe 11, but like right after the games for the night ended, that Dallas was talking a trade with Colorado for Mikko Rantanen, and that there would probably be an extension involved. It would be a sign and trade type deal, and it has potentially fallen through. Darren Dreger, of course, as you can read, I'll read it out. There is no deal between Dallas and Carolina for Mikko Rantanen. It appears Carolina may have to go back to the drawing board. Doesn't mean the deal/extension with Dallas can't materialize, but it isn't there right now. So either Rantanen is holding firm that he wants $14 million, or what Dallas was offering and saying, hey, if you want to win a cup, you're going to take this much, and that's the most we're offering. And that wasn't enough for Rantanen. I'm really interested to see if this does develop later in the day, especially as we get closer to that 1-2 o'clock where teams really start seeming to panic. It's the last 24 hours where you can trade, well, last now 6 hours and counting, that you can trade in the NHL and have players be eligible for playoff rosters. So it does interest me if Rantanen gets a last minute offer from a team that doesn't care about getting an extension signed. Mikko Rantanen, we need Mikko Rantanen, we need a top line guy, go for it. Jersey's a team that I thought could have been interested, mostly because they did lose Jack Hughes for the entire year now. So Nico Hischier's going to have to step up into the top line center spot. Thought they could have used a winger like Mikko Rantanen. But it appears right now that they're not going to be in on him. Dallas, of course, is the team that is, because I believe Jamie Benn's out for the year, and my God, I can't remember the other guy's name that they have that's on LTIR, and is it next year? Sorry, because Jamie Benn's a pending UFA. They have enough cap. They'd have $14.5 million exactly, and Rantanen wants $14 million. We were thinking, a lot of people were thinking, okay, well, they have that cap next year. They're going to spend it all on Rantanen immediately just from those two players, one of them being a UFA and then one of them being on LTIR for I believe it's the last year of his contract. So, Mikko Rantanen looks like he will be traded today. It's not confirmed that's going to be Dallas. I should actually update the thing in the top right that does say that Dallas is discussing an extension. They were. But it does seem to have fallen through right now. David Pagnotta tweeting out that the Leafs are weighing options. Two players they continue to look at are Brendan Tanev and Luke Kunin. And I like Brendan Tanev. I think he's a good third line option. I think he'd be really good, actually, in Toronto. I think he'd be pretty good in that role. Luke Kunin, I like Luke Kunin as well. I think he's a good third line option too. It depends on what the Leafs are trading. If they're doing another Ryan O'Reilly deal where they're acquiring a third line center for a first round pick plus, it's not going to end up well for them, in my opinion. I think that if you're dealing anything above a second round pick, you're looking at really losing that trade hard, unless you're a team like a Florida, like a Carolina, who can go all in and have a few prospects that are going to be ready, or you can assume will be ready next year to replace these pieces that you're bringing in. You look at Carolina with Morrow and Niklashin. I'm going to be butchering names all throughout the day, so I apologize in advance. These are guys that are expected to fill, I believe, a forward spot and a defensive spot into next season. So the Hurricanes waging spots on their team potentially by going out and acquiring Mikko Rantanen in the first place. They could afford to do that. They could afford to get rid of him, Marty Necas, because they'll have a guy coming in to replace him not only now but also hopefully for the future. The Leafs don't seem to have that. There was talks that Fraser Mitten was rejected in a trade offer, and I don't get how, because that guy's going to be a third liner. Nick Robertson has been reported to be on the trade block, so I'd assume one of Tanev or Kunin, if they get dealt to the Leafs, I'd expect Nick Robertson to be in that deal. But of course, we'll see as the day progresses how that situation develops. And yeah, at this point, it's really just waiting for stuff to come out. And okay, so they did another Trade Center thing. I'm gonna bookmark that because I want to watch that later. So yeah, I do want to plug something real quick at the start of the stream. Well, people are most likely to be starting to tune in. Hardwired is my second channel. I run it with my one of my closest friends, my definitely closest YouTube partner, I'll say. Hauser, who's over on that channel. You might know him here as Sporty or Chev Camaro. We started a channel. It's got about 35 subscribers already. We're doing a lot more hockey content on that channel. This channel I'm really starting to personalize into much more of a film and hopefully music channel in the future. So I'm gonna put this AirPod away. Actually, I just realized I should probably do that. But yeah, we started a channel that's not necessarily just for hockey. We can upload anything we want, but a lot of what we've been uploading is hockey content. Hauser's got some projects he's working on over there, including Hardwired Millionaire, which you can find out more about that on the Hardwired YouTube channel. Should have put a link for it in the description. Admittedly, I didn't think to do so. But yeah, so I just want to plug Hardwired. I'm using the official Hardwired Twitter account because the account that I used in previous years, I have infected with several accounts that I quite frankly don't want to unfollow because I actually really enjoyed their content and I don't have another account I can really follow them on. So I'm using the Hardwired YouTube account. Yeah, if you want to follow us on Twitter. It is at HardwiredYT. No underscore, no nothing like that. Oh, there we go. We've got our first real kind of scoop of the day. Philadelphia is getting calls on forward Ryan Poehling. Not sure how likely of a trade. Not sure how likely a trade is to happen, but there is interest. So Ryan Poehling is a guy that you can mark down as a potential guy to be traded. So we've got some big names up here. Ryan Poehling, more of a depth guy, obviously, but we're getting names. We're getting all caliber types of names. You got Noah Dobson, Trevor Zegras, Erik Karlsson coming up. JJ Peterka. I put all the stars in one section, apparently. Elias Pettersson, Brock Boeser. You got a lot of guys. Those two from Vancouver, those last two from Vancouver. You got a lot of guys up here that are top 6, top 4 defenseman caliber players. I don't think I listed any defensemen aside from Erik Karlsson. But you've also got depth players. And they more so look for... just realized the stream was disconnecting a little bit. I apologize. But if you're more of a Florida from last year, you're looking to more so... get depth pieces, maybe a fourth line guy who only plays a couple games. I believe Kyle Poeser only played, I want to say it was 3 regular season games, or might have had 3 points in the regular season, I forget, something along those lines. Or if you're Carolina this year, going all in with Mikko Rantanen, see if you're a team like that. I think it's always interesting seeing how teams round out their team headed into the playoffs. A team for me to look out, Faggio. Going pretty good, man. Thank you for coming by. Yeah, if you guys also chat, you will see your name in the chat right down here. I'm trying to get used to the new camera setup I have for today. I'm looking at it pretty well, but I just got to get used to the direction in which I'm going to be pointing. No more pointing over here or up there. It's over here I'll be pointing technically. But yeah, it's going pretty good, Faggio. Hopefully everything's going good with you too, my good sir. But a team for me to look out for today is probably the New York Islanders. So it might be surprising. They've got guys like Kyle Palmieri who they can trade. Scott Mayfield has apparently had interest from the Maple Leafs, which, if that happens, I'm just going to say it, that would be really, really funny if the Maple Leafs went out and traded for Scott Mayfield. I don't think that guy should be in the NHL. I think he's a very, very bad defenseman. But you know what? Hey, it's the trade deadline. Teams do stupid moves every single deadline. You can look back at literally every trade deadline from the past and find at least a handful of moves that really did not work out for either the team buying or the team selling. But the Islanders are a team that they've already sold Brock Nelson. They sold Brock Nelson yesterday. Again, they got Kyle Palmieri. Scott Mayfield has apparently had a little bit of interest. There's some things they can do here. We know that Winnipeg has been interested in apparently upgrading. I believe it's at center. They want at least a forward and a defenseman out of this trade deadline. There was one of the they wanted Jake Wallman. That's, I believe, who it was. They were interested in Jake Wallman. However, of course, he got dealt to Edmonton, and we could talk about that in a little bit, more in depth, I should say. And now apparently they're circling back on David Savard from the Canadiens. They want a defenseman and a forward, and I think they're going to get at least one of each for sure. I think that the Jets are a team that realize this is possibly their last real big chance at getting somewhere with the core that they have right now. Scheifele isn't getting any younger. Morrissey's going to be continuing to play pretty well. Hellebuck's probably exhausted from all the hockey he's had to play in the last 3 years. Yeah, Faggio. Yeah, Brock Nelson. Brock Nelson goes to the Colorado Avalanche. Yeah, he does. We'll talk about that in a minute. We've got some posts to look at here. Oh, okay. So Pierre LeBrun. The Flyers are being patient when it comes to Scott Laughton. The trade market is thin at center. They will be a popular call today. They don't have to move him, but Toronto and Winnipeg are in the mix. So Laughton looks like he should probably get moved. If I'm Philadelphia, I'd move him. I mean, then again, if I were in Philadelphia, I wouldn't want to be in Philadelphia myself. But yeah, Scott Laughton. Apparently, they can get a first-round pick for him, so I would not mind. If I'm Philadelphia fans, as much as you might like Scott Laughton, you're going to want that first-round pick. You're in a rebuild. You're still probably 2-3 years away from getting close to being competitive in the playoff race. You're going to want as many first-round picks as you can get, and trading Scott Laughton, if it means getting a first, I think you kind of have to go ahead and do that, I would think. And we were just talking about it. The Jets, they want another forward, and they're interested in Scott Laughton. So Toronto, they're in on Laughton. I was mentioning it literally, 10 minutes ago? Not even. Scott Laughton, you don't want to give up a first for a pure rental. I think Laughton does have another 2 years on his contract, I think. Let me look real quick. Yeah, he has another year on his contract after this, so you're not really going for a pure rental. Oh yeah, the Walman trade. We'll talk about that in a minute because that's on the screen. But you don't want to give up a first for a pure rental. For a guy like Laughton who has another year, you could maybe understand if they give up a first for that. I think you could, but my clock went a little haywire for a second. But yeah. I don't think that you're going to want to give up a first-round pick for a rental. But a guy like Laughton, you could maybe afford to do so because he has that extra year. And especially for a Toronto team that has Marner coming up and Tavares both coming up, you're going to want guys who fit nicely under the cap. And you're going to want to acquire guys like Laughton, who's making $3 million a year. Really nice, cheap cap hits, especially with the cap going up, who are proven and you know what you're getting out of them. So Toronto's a team I wouldn't mind seeing them go after Laughton. However, as a fan of an Eastern Conference team, as I'm sure you guys can tell by the jersey on the back, if you aren't already subscribed to the channel, firstly, you should do so because it makes pretty damn good content, and subscribe to Hardwired. But I would prefer Laughton to get traded to Winnipeg. As an Eastern Conference team fan, as a fan of the Canadians who are in the East, I'd much rather every big trade target go to the West, because that leaves it a little bit open for the Canadians to jump up in the East. So, fingers crossed there, but we'll see as the day develops. Let's talk this trade, the actual first trade of the day, because Edmonton getting Jake Walman, this broke at, 1 o'clock? Well, the actual trade, I should say. It was said since, 11 o'clock, like right after the game with the Canadians ended, that the Oilers are acquiring Jake Walman, and it came out a couple hours later that the trade was official. It's Jake Walman to the Oilers. As far as we know, I believe there's no salary retention. They get Carl Berglund, who I know nothing about. If anybody does know anything about Carl Berglund, please let me know. And a 2026 first-round pick, which is conditional, and that condition is, as I put up here, the pick is top 12 protected, but if Edmonton trades their 2027 first-round pick before the end of the trade deadline this year, no condition applies. Because then, if it's top 12 protected in 2026, then they get the 2027 first. But if they trade the 2027 first, then they just straight up get the 2026 first. So, I would assume this is more than likely. What did my music completely stop? Okay, I was right at the end of my playlist. That sucks. There we go. Alright, by the way, if you guys can let me know how I sound, let me know how the music sounds in the background. You know, like an ape again, I'm leaving. Alright, Don. Thank you for coming by, my good sir. But yeah, so again, if Edmonton trades their 2027 first before the end of the deadline, that almost makes it sound like the Oilers do have something up their sleeve. It sounds like they are looking to make another move. But then again, it could just be one of those just let's fuck with people a little bit type moves. You do see those occasionally where it's more so not necessarily like, in like 8 hours you'll know if the trade condition is going to apply or if it's just not going to happen. So you don't really know there until at least 3 p.m. Probably a little later, I'll be honest. Or you don't know if it's going to be a conditional pick or if it's just going to be a straight up 2026 first round pick. But Jake Walman, good defenseman. Carl Berglund's a career ECHLer. Okay, so it's basically just a body. Edmonton was probably at 50 contracts, and I'd assume needed to move somebody out. So Berglund's the guy that does get moved. So it's basically just Walman for a first and then a body. So Walman, I've liked Walman since his time in Detroit, which for me to like a Detroit Red Wing, you gotta be good. So I like Woolman. I like his offensive potential. Defensively, he can be a bit of a wonder sometimes, but he's competent defensively. I'll say he's competent. I like his offense. Of course, he does the gritty when he scores in overtime, which I think that's fantastic. He did it against the Canadians once, and I couldn't even be mad at that. But Jake Woolman, good offensive player, probably on the second pairing, I'd imagine, because I know they have Ekholm and Bouchard on that first pairing, so Woolman, Kulak, maybe? I don't know. But Jake Woolman, acquired by the Oilers. That's a solid trade early here in the day. The literal first trade of the day. What else we got? Okay, so firstly, Pierre LeBrun says that there's extension talks going on between the Blackhawks and Ryan Donato. We'll see if the Hawks do extend him today, but if not, the Hawks have been telling teams all week they need to be blown away to move him. So the Hawks really like Ryan Donato, clearly. They are not willing to move him, and especially not for cheap. So Ryan Donato is going to be an interesting guy to look out for. Probably getting extended, it looks like. So that's yet another name that's crossed off the exciting trade block for this year, either because guys get traded before the deadline or, like this case, and guys like Jake Evans getting extended. So we can also talk about the Jake Evans extension in a little while if you guys want to do that. I wouldn't mind doing that whatsoever as a Canadiens fan. But yeah, that's not the only thing that just came out. Flyers, what's going on here? Oh, okay, it's just a retweet. Flyers update. There's a big ask on Ristolainen of a first prospect and a player. I don't see why. Okay, why? I'm sorry. Give me a second, boys. Why is my playlist not working? Okay, there we go. I think my playlist should work now. Alright, because it was playing one song at a time, unless I just gotta press the playlist. Okay, no, there we go. I did not work the playlist, like, at all this morning. Yeah, no. like Schmitty says here, I wouldn't even pay a second for Ristolainen. This is a god-awful trade if anybody makes that offer. If anybody even offers a first for Ristolainen. Like, I completely get. They fumbled the initial trade for Risto completely. They messed up even acquiring Ristolainen. But to want a first, a prospect, and a player. Faggio, I'm very on and off with the NFL. Like, I'll follow for like a week, and then I'll be off for like 6 months. Like, I'm that type of follower of the NFL. I watch the Super Bowl. And, like, that's, like, the only game I watch. I want to get more to the NFL, but, don't know when that'll happen. But if you got something, please share it in the chat. No problem. No worries with me. So for Philadelphia to ask for a first, a prospect, and a player. A first is already too much. Depending on what type of prospect. Like, here's the thing. Darren Jager could be saying this, and it turns out, oh, well, they want a first, like a prospect from the 4th round, and then a 4th line player. That could be what they want. But let's be honest, it's Danny Briere. He's never made a smart decision once in his general managing career. He wants a first, an A+ prospect, and a second liner at minimum. That's the type of player he wants. And they're not going to get that. I'm confident in already saying they're not going to get that. Exactly. Decent chance he stays in Philly. I'd say more than likely stays in Philly. But interesting, teams that missed on Nelson are circling on Lawton, and the price is a haul. So everybody's been saying this is a seller's market this year. This is going to be a seller's market, and yeah, it is. It's going to be a seller's market right now. Scott Lawton is a guy that is going to be huge to look out for. Let's check back in on thy Twitters. Oh, we got some stuff going on, maybe? Hopefully. Daily Faceoff has their trade tracker live. That's pretty cool. And yeah, we're just getting a bunch of retweets. Yeah, Flyers being patient when it comes to Lawton. We just read that. So yeah, let's go over a couple trades. Cleveland may not trade Myles Garrett, and he will prepare to hold out if not traded. Oh, shit. If you're a Browns fan in here, and this is the first you're hearing of this, I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. That is the first you're hearing of Myles Garrett possibly holding out if he's not traded. I very much apologize to all of my Cleveland Browns fans that might be in the chat. I'm going to quickly get through the trades that happened this week. And by very quickly, I mean I'll talk about them a little bit. So, firstly, the first trade in this week, we had Ryan Lindgren getting dealt to Colorado with Jimmy Vesey and a prospect, Hank Kempe. He's a college guy right now. He got traded for Yusuf Parson, who's already on his third team this year. If the Rangers dealt him again today, I think that'd be kind of funny. Calvin DeHaan, a 2025 second and fourth round picks. Lindgren's a good second pairing guy. Very reliable, really good defensively, really good heart and soul type of defenseman. And the Rangers, I'd argue, made a mistake here unless he's already told them that he's not willing to re-sign, so they decided to trade him while they could. VC's a fourth line guy. That's what you get out of him. VC's made it clear in the past couple of months that he is not happy with his place in where he's in the Rangers. He's been a healthy scratch. Doesn't really have a fit in the lineup, so dealing him to a Colorado team that might be able to get something out of him, I think is probably a good idea there. My phone just went off. Actually, it's my replacement phone for now. My actual phone's in the shop. Yusuf Parson looked like he had some upside a couple years ago. Right now, he's probably dwindling more towards a bottom six player. Calvin DeHaan's a third line guy, more like a seventh defenseman at this point, reliable. That second and fourth round pick, really what they rely on in this trade. That 2025 second round pick should be good. I think the Rangers probably would have preferred to get a first round pick for Ryan Lindgren, but I think they're fine with the second, fourth, and hoping that a guy like Yusuf Parson can help them as, weirdly enough, they sell off Ryan Lindgren in the midst of a pretty good playoff battle they're in right now. I believe tied for the second wildcard spot in the East right now. Actually tied for technically first and second because I believe they both have. I believe it's 67 points. So, kind of funny. The Rangers are selling, but at the same time, they would end up buying later in the week. Goose Nyquist would go to Minnesota, 50% retained to Nashville. Was a 2026 second round pick. This is purely a not even a reputation move. This is more just a straight move just to get Nyquist to a contending team. And hey, put up 70 points last year. Maybe he'll do good with us. Nyquist I do see working out in Minnesota. I actually did speak about this over on the Hardwired channel if you guys want to hear my full thoughts about this trade. Then we had the big one. Seth Jones at 26% retention to the Florida Panthers, along with a fourth round pick, in exchange for Spencer Knight and a first round pick, which is conditional in 2026. And if Florida doesn't have their 2026 first, which is tied up in the whole Sean Monahan to Montreal trade, I believe, it becomes 2027 first. So either way, Chicago gets a first round pick. Chicago's already looking like they're running away with this trade. Seth Jones can be a good defenseman. He just cannot be overplayed, and he really can't be on the first pairing, in my opinion. Spencer Knight played great in his first game with the Hawks. That is a legit starter. And they get a first-round pick, which, if things don't go well, could look very, very well, very, very quickly for the Hawks. Or, if things go right for the Panthers, they're just going to pretty well win this trade instead of completely fleecing the Panthers. I'm a Panthers fan. Well, the Panthers are my second team, I should say. I am a Panthers fan. No clue what they're doing here. Bob is 37. They're apparently dealing Chris Driedger, which actually I didn't even put that trade up on here. They acquired Vitek Vanacek, who can be a backup. That's probably the nicest thing I can say about Vitek Vanacek. But you look at a guy like Vitek Vanacek, and then you look at Chris Driedger. I'm taking Chris Driedger every day of the week and twice on Sunday. Panthers lose the Seth Jones trade. The Vitek Vanacek trade, they trade away Patrick Giles, who's an AHLer. You get a free body. Why not? Then you have the Trent Frederick trade, and this is the point where we're going to go back to... That's the wrong one. We're going to go back to Twitter and see if there's anything coming out. We got 3 posts. Eric Engels is tweeting that Armia and Savard really enforced their value, I should say, hours before the deadline, so that's exciting. Apparently Brad Marchand is trending with Brad Treliving. I'm assuming that's just an AI thing, or an AI thing where they're just, same first name, group them together. But yeah, we had Trent Frederick getting traded for a second-round pick with Max Jones, 50% retained by both Boston and Jersey. I like this deal for Boston. They trade away a guy who's probably playing third, fourth line minutes in Edmonton. Max Jones actually debuted last night against the Canadiens. He looked good. I thought he looked pretty solid in a fourth line role. Boston getting a second-round pick for a fourth line talent, I'd say is pretty good. They get a fourth-round pick. Jersey gets a college guy in Shane Lachance, who I don't know if he's related to former, I believe, first overall pick, actually, Scott Lachance. But if he is, he's got a decent following to live up to. Dad played, 600 NHL games, I think, something like that. Boston, I think, ends up pretty well with this. Oilers, they're going in on this year. They're trying to shore up everything that kind of failed them in the playoffs. The lack of defense, the lack of depth scoring, and the lack of goaltending. The only thing they have yet to fix is their goaltending. Then we get to the nightmare of a trade. We get Yanni Gourde and Oliver Bjorkstrand traded to Tampa Bay. Detroit gets a fourth-round pick for retaining salary on Gourde. Seattle getting Michael Azimont, who's just a body. It was basically bodies in. You had to take a body back. They get a 2025 second-round pick that was Toronto's. And then conditional 2026 and 2027 first-round picks, both of which are top 10 protected. 2026s would move to 2028, and 2027s would move to 2029. And Seattle would also get both of Tampa's 28 and 29 third-round picks if one or the other, or both of them, move. So Seattle's probably hoping that Tampa's starting a rebuild by 2026. Their picks are in top 10 in both years, because then in 28-29, you get free third-round picks as well for a trade you made, 5 years ago at that point, by the time you're using that 2029 third-round pick 4 years from now. Good time to be selling indeed, Faggio. It's a seller's market right now. That's what we've been told. There is no pressure on a team like, for example, a Montreal to trade a David Savard. There's pressure on Winnipeg, for example, to acquire a David Savard type of player, just a defenseman. There's a lot of pressure on buyers and way less on sellers than there are usually. When there's buyer markets, there's that, hey, David Savard, you got to sell him. You got to get what you can for him. In a year like this, where it's a seller's market, it quickly turns into just, okay, well, David Savard, we like him. Hey, we're going to hold on to him. What are you going to do about it? You going to offer more? Very much selling teams grow huge nuts and don't need to trade players. Where in a buyer's market, they usually have to. Yeah, I like this trade for Seattle. I also talked about this trade and the Seth Jones trade over on the Hardwire channel more in depth. But Michael Azimont, not a great player. Gordon Bjorkstrand helped Tampa Bay very well in their third line. But that's the thing. They are third liners. You gave up a first round pick for Yanni Gourde and a first round pick for Oliver Bjorkstrand and a second round pick as well. I get you had to give up probably Kyle Aucoin and then that fourth round pick for retaining, which I get. But for Seattle to retain on Gourde, does that really bump it up to a first round pick or even that second round pick, whatever it is? I don't like that trade for Tampa Bay. This year, sure, it helps them. That trade could really look like an Andre Vasilevsky trade that Detroit did with Tampa Bay when they acquired, who was it? I forget, but they gave up a 2012 first round pick, and that was Andre Vasilevsky they gave up. So Tampa might be doing one of those themselves. This is looking like a 2010s Red Wings move for sure. A trade that you have to make because you're buying. You can't sell because you're in the playoffs. But it's clear that this is like the last hoo-ah for everybody on the team. Anaheim so fleeced. I don't know if I'd say they fleeced in the Shillington deal, Mad Mike. It's probably more so just the Islanders took him on because it was a body. Colorado's probably at the 50 of 50 contract limit. need to take back Shillington, and then, hey, Anaheim, you want a free third-pairing defenseman? We've got enough. You take him. Like, okay, probably could have gone back a fifth or a sixth, but it was either that or they put him on waivers, and at that point, I'm sure Shillington just said, yeah, whatever, I'll go to Anaheim. I'll prove myself and get a $2 million contract July 1st. Devils do need a top six forward to fill in the hole left by Jack Hughes getting injured for sure, Mad Mike. I couldn't agree more. I mentioned earlier that I think that they could have been in. I think that they could have been in on a guy like Mikko Rantanen, but ultimately they weren't. I'm gonna open up my Pepsi now because I can feel I'm slowly starting to lose the not the excitement. I'm slowly starting to lose the kind of adrenaline I started on the first that when I first started the stream. But yeah, the Devils. I could maybe see them going in on maybe a Steven Stamkos. It depends on how much cap they'd have next year. If they really think they can trust Stamkos and really want to more so rely on him being on the power play, you think they might be in on Lawton? Okay. I mean, I don't know if Philly would want to deal in division, especially because they have a team like, say, Toronto and then Winnipeg out west, who are apparently both interested in Lawton. I think they'd much rather deal with one of those two teams. But who knows? Maybe it comes down to it, and Jersey's like, hey, we'll give you a first, Simon Nemec, and something else. It's a ridiculous overpay that nobody else can match just because Jersey is that desperate right now. Maybe it ends up happening. I don't think it will, but there's always that possibility. Stamkos is a possibility. Exactly. Yeah, Mad Mike, because, like, you lose Jack Hughes, you lose a 100-point scorer. You lose a 100-point scorer, you're going to want someone like that. Boeser could maybe work. Jared McCann, I think that would be a really, really good fit. Jared McCann in Jersey as a rental. The only issue is, are you trying to buy into Jared McCann in hopes of re-signing him, or is it purely just, hey, you're a Jack Hughes replacement, once you're done, once the season's done, you're leaving, thank you for your service, wonderful, have a wonderful career. Faggio, yeah, it seems that nobody wants to pay Rantanen. I mean, Colorado didn't want to pay him the $14 million that he wanted. Carolina, it seems that apparently Rantanen doesn't want to re-sign in Carolina, which can't really blame him. And Dallas doesn't want to give him $14 million. So, yeah, what happens? I think if he gets traded, it's purely a rental. And on July 1st, don't be surprised if Rantanen lasts a couple days. Then again, there are always 2 or 3 NHL GMs that are so dumb. They always pay big time for a quality product that's just getting overpaid by an extra couple million. Maybe try for like a Cousins or a Middlestat. The only issue is that then you're paying big time for Cousins or Middlestat for them to be a third line center next year. Unless you somehow then trade Cousins or Middlestat, or you're trading Hischier or Hughes, which obviously you're not trading Hischier or Hughes, but you're paying, say, a first, a prospect, and something else for a Cousins or Middlestat for them to be a third-line center. I think Middlestat is perfect as a third-line center. He's very much like Kirby Dach, in my opinion. He's very streaky. He's got potential. He always seems to be coming up big time, but he's not always there, so third-line center is arguably a perfect spot for Middlestat. So I think he'd work there. But if you're going for a Cousins, for example, he should be in a top 6 role, ideally a second-line center role. And I don't think you're going to want to move Hughes to the wing. Heischer's obviously cemented himself as a center. So I think Cousins would be out. I think Middlestat could work. O'Reilly could be a fit, but if you're going after him to get him as a top 6 forward for 3 to 4 years, that's not going to work because he's already 34. But exactly, it would be a severe overpayment. Exactly, man, Mike. Faggio, you think all 3 of them offered around 12.5? It would not surprise me if that's what came out, especially if after Rantanen signs whatever he signs for, whether it's today or July 1st, whenever he signs. It wouldn't surprise me to see, like, Dallas and Carolina and Colorado all offered about $12 million. Rantanen got greedy. He wanted a little bit more. It wouldn't surprise me if that came out. It also wouldn't surprise me if they offered only like $9-10 million and said, hey, you're not playing good in Carolina. Maybe you were just a McKinnon merchant. Like I said, I opened my Pepsi, and then I drank my water instead. That was a nice little swerve for you boys. The run he was on after the trade, no, it did not. God, what was Rantanen doing? It was... what was it? It was... yeah, here we go. 13 games, 2 goals, 4... You can't really see this, unfortunately, but 13 goals, 2 assists, 2 goals, 4 assists, 6 points. For a guy that in Colorado had 64 points in 49 games. Rantanen sucked. He also sucked on the Four Nations. He had 1 goal in 3 games, which I get. The Four Nations wasn't a great tournament for Finland, but I mean, Patrick Laine played pretty good on that team, if you ask me. Like, if you look at it, where was Team Finland? Oh, they're going like this. Mikael Granlund had 3 goals, 4 points. Laine had 3 assists. There were a couple guys that played well in the tournament. So to say Rantanen just wasn't around a good team, I don't know. Adding to this says he doesn't need to be dealt to have a playoff run. He never did. 1 contender, 2 contender, 3 contender. He can hold steady. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I think Rantanen should be dealt today. Honestly, if I'm Carolina, I don't want another Jake Guentzel situation where you go all out, you get a premier product, just for them to say, nah, I think I want to sign with a team who has a chance to win a cup. And then what did they do? They dealt Guentzel to Tampa for a third, I think, right? So he could sign there. I'll be honest, I don't know how I feel about Mikko Rantanen leaving Carolina, because for me, I think that would cement them as the new Columbus Blue Jackets. Everybody remembers, I think, when Columbus went on that insane run in 2019, they swept the Tampa Bay Lightning, who had a President's Trophy winning season, and then Bobrovsky leaves, Panarin leaves, Duchesne leaves, there was a fourth one who left. 4 really good quality players all leave Columbus. Every one of them. Every star player that Columbus had up to that point just left. They didn't care about Columbus, as nobody still does. But to me, if Rantanen leaves, that would solidify Carolina as a non-hockey market. It would solidify that nobody wants to willingly go to Carolina, unless you're Jordan Staal and you just enjoy the peace and quiet. Yeah, I'm a fan of longevity. I'm a fan of loyalty. That's the word I was looking for. My brain's not running fast because I honestly should be going to sleep right about. I should have been in bed about an hour and a half ago. But yeah, just I'm a fan. I'm a fan of people kind of staying on their teams for a while. Like with Jake Evans, for example, what he did, or Jordan Staal in a way, what he did with Carolina. But when you don't want to be in a place and you wanna improve your mental health and shit like that, you gotta move on. And yeah, I don't know. I think with Mikko Rantanen, with it being more greed than anything, I don't know. I don't know if I don't know how I feel about Rantanen entirely. But yeah, I'm gonna turn up the music just a little bit. There we go. So yeah, what do you guys want to talk about for now? We've got time. It's again only 8:47 in the morning right now, so we've got another 7 hours that we're gonna be here. If you guys want to talk about some trades that are going on, if you guys want to talk about some trade proposals, put them in the chat. You guys, actually, what I'm gonna do is I should probably update this real quick. So, yeah, Provorov is not being traded by the Blue Jackets right now. There we go. Provorov is not being traded by the Blue Jackets. Rantanen, like we were talking about for the past 40 minutes, it feels like the Dallas trade has fallen through. And the Canadians, this team, the Canadians only want to move one of Savard and Armia. They don't want to deplete their roster right now, especially being now 1 point out of the playoffs. They're apparently getting calls about Savard. We don't know what they're getting called for Armia. If they're getting called for Armia, I'd imagine there's a couple teams that might circle back on Armia if Savard isn't dealt by, say, 12 o'clock maybe. Yeah, Mad Mike, I think Savard is the guy that gets moved too. I think what Montreal is going to look to do is another Carrier-type move where they move Carrier. For example, when Carrier got moved to Montreal, he got traded for, it was Justin Barron and a pick, I think it was. Or it was Carrier and a pick for Barron, something like that. So I could see that happening again, where it's very much just, hey, we like the player, but the cap hit's not fine. Montreal, do you want to take him on? Give us some a third-pairing defenseman or seventh defenseman, whatever you got, and maybe a pick, you know? Or in this case, it might be a pick, because the Montreal Canadiens have a stockpile of draft picks they can use right now. That's what I think will happen, and if that happens, if they can find a trade like that, I think they do move Savard. Because for me, I think if you're looking at the Canadiens and how well they play defensively with Savard in the lineup, especially because they already are missing Caden Gooley, I think that with them and Savard, moving on from Savard, they want somebody back in to where if the Canadiens do go on a run and they do make the playoffs, they're not completely inexperienced. They have Carrier, who I believe was around for the 2017 Cup run, correct me if I'm wrong, and they have someone else, along with Mike Matheson. They have 3 experienced blue liners instead of just 2, and then 4 guys who are just completely inexperienced when it comes to the playoffs. Jack has not seen the playoffs yet. Hudson's not seen the playoffs yet. Yeah, and then of course you get guys like Slavkovsky, who haven't made the playoffs before. Doc, who had one really good run, he's out right now, unfortunately. I think could return at some point during the playoffs, so the Canadiens go far enough, I think. But I do think Savard does get moved as well. Blackhawks are stupid. Sell Donato at the highest he'll ever be. Faggio, I do agree with you. I mean, granted, you can't just sell every deadline if you're a team like the Blackhawks. You do have to keep some players. You know, that's why I think when they acquired Taylor Hall, it was a 2-year deal. They ended up selling him anyways. But that was part of the reason that they acquired Taylor Hall, even if it was more so just the Bruins selling him to Chicago with the draft picks they included. You know, you got to keep some players around, especially if you have a Connor Bedard there. You got to keep players around to fill out the roster. You can't just rely on, all right, we got Connor Bedard, we got Frank Nazar, and we got one other guy. Just fill the rest of the team with a bunch of AHL bums. I get that you're tanking and you're trying to be a bad team to rebuild, but you can't go around completely selling everything you got. Ryan Donato, while he might be worth a first-round pick, and I would probably sell him for a first-round pick, he's one of the guys that I would sell. He's maybe a guy that I think I would maybe resign. He's probably a guy I would resign and look to keep around for a couple years. Donato has to be moved right now by the Hawks. I wouldn't say like right now, but I definitely think he should be moved by today. So looks like we've got some stuff going on. Let's go from the bottom up. Okay, so we got something from Rene Lavoie coming in. Which Canadian teams need to be the biggest buyers? Montreal. No question about it. The drone died. What happened to the drone? Oh, I was talking about it? Oh, okay, I thought they were, okay. The drone is now dead, thank you. Okay, talking about the rising salary cap. So within 3 years, it's going to be up by $20 million compared to where it is right now, which is going to be crazy. That's the case. So what do we got? So David Pagnotta saying that as he reported Thursday, the Islanders have offered a 2-year extension to keep Kyle Palmieri. The two sides are speaking later this morning, upon which a decision will be made to either sign him or move him. There is trade interest in Pajot, in Palmieri, JG Pajot, and even Anders Lee. So Anders Lee is a guy that's a little bit surprising, considering he makes $7 million. I get he's having a really good year, especially considering his last couple seasons. Hey, Grinch, how's it going, man? Thank you for coming by, my good sir. Much appreciated. Guys, invite your friends, invite your family, invite strangers, invite 4chan. Actually, don't invite 4chan, please. Those guys scare me. But invite anybody that you can to come by to the stream, especially if they're a hockey fan. Invite anybody you can that you think would enjoy the stream. Anders Lee's, like I said, it's a bit surprising. If I'm the Islanders, I would trade Anders Lee. Like, $7 million. I don't know about that. $7 million for a 30-goal scorer. As long as there's no retention, I would probably move him, even for a second or a third. You know this is probably a career year. if I'm the Islanders, I'd make that move because you're looking to go into not even necessarily maybe a rebuild, but a retool, more or less. Hey, let's go. Mark Giordano's with Trade Center right now. Let's go. But, yeah. So, yeah, you got that going on with the Islanders. We'll see how that progresses. If Suns is in here, which I don't think he is. But if he is in here, Suns, possible Ripperino to the Islanders' playoff hopes this year. So we've got, René Lavoie just kind of officially putting out contract extension negotiations between the Stars and Rantanen's clan. I think that means management, probably. Were put on hold last night. They should resume this morning. And if there's an agreement, the trade with the Canes will be concluded. Does Carolina have a plan B with another team if the trade with the Stars does not work out? So we could see him traded after all. If there weren't many teams calling on Ristolainen earlier, and I've reported a couple times there weren't, hard to imagine he's going to be moving. Okay, so there we go. So we've got a guy who's a writer in Philadelphia for The Athletic, basically following up on Drieger's report. Just, as I was saying, and he might even be watching this show. Props if you're watching this, my guy. Ristolainen will not be moved today. As long as their ask is anything above a second-round pick, he's not getting moved. Apparently there weren't many teams calling either, so that's not good for Philly. We'll see, though, of course, like I said, as the day moves on. Weirder things have happened in the NHL. Wayne Gretzky got traded a couple times. 2 times, I think, actually, to be exact. But yeah. So, so I actually can't even say that the trade fell through then. If that's the case, they wouldn't be extending the talk. They wouldn't be talking. I'll just put Dallas trade on hold. So yeah, contract negotiations are going to be continuing with the Stars and the Hurricanes for Mikko Rantanen soon. A couple hours left in the morning, so probably resuming the next hour and a half, I'd imagine. As we're coming up on 9 o'clock, approaching the 6-hour mark for the trade deadline. Yeah. So this is enjoyable. What can we expect? All right. What is Kenzie Lalonde saying? Yes. Huh. Alrighty, so don't expect anything big from the Canadians today. That's interesting. Because we've heard this for the past 3-4 years. So, yeah. Montreal, I don't know if that necessarily means that that we're not trading Savard or Armia, or if that means don't expect any big additions. I'm assuming it means don't expect any big additions. So yabba-dabba-doo. Canadians aren't going to be trading anybody, it looks like right now. But I can't say not trading. It doesn't look like we're going to be buying, so we'll see though. Cam Robinson, here's a guy that I started following recently. Does believe Chicago's first choice has been to retain Ryan Donato. He reported as much a couple weeks ago, apparently. But teams are swirling. Everybody's looking for someone to kiss before the ball drops, so that's fun. And with these prices, I'd bet he moves, but we'll see. Okay, so apparently there are teams that are willing to offer a lot more for a guy like a Ryan Donato, it looks like right now. So he might not be getting extended, or maybe it's a sign and trade type of deal. We'll see. But yeah, I'm gonna put this on the TLD updates thing I have here. Prices for players are going way up. Yeah, I know it's usually to be expected anyways that, oh, well, yeah, of course that's going to be the case. But no, especially for this year, when a third-pairing defenseman or Mr. Line is apparently the ask is a first, a player, and a prospect. I don't know how good that really is. So yeah, my God, I'm like getting tired. Maybe I should have tried to get a couple hours of sleep before I came up. I don't really want to do a sleep stream. Love the hat, Harry. Great to see you. Hey, Wolverine, thank you, man. Much appreciated. Oh, fucking Flame Blasty. That's his fucking name. Blasty. Love to see him on the hat. Love to support my Flames fans. Shout out Wolverine, big Flames fans and Canadians fan. Yeah, I'm tired as shit right now, but I'm gonna try and keep going for the trade deadline. So, yeah. Thank you for coming by, Wolverine. Much appreciated. Yeah, we're waiting for stuff to happen because it's 9 o'clock right now, and we're probably not gonna get stuff really for like another hour and a half. But still, you know, trending right now is Braden Shen and Kyle Palmieri. Braden Shen was one of those guys who was heavily speculated on that he might be traded to the Maple Leafs today, but I don't know. We'll see if that does happen. And Kyle Palmieri was another guy. Kyle Palmieri was another guy who was speculated that there could be some type of trade with him. Like we were talking about a little while ago, it looks like that he could potentially end up being signed. He was offered an extension, so yeah, we will see. I do have a wave of tiredness hitting me, so I'm hoping that it goes away, because I really don't want to just come up here and do like a sleep stream, you know, just lean back and just fall asleep for like an hour or two. But I guess right now, if it happens, it happens. I just gotta hope that people stick around and keep watching the stream, because yeah, Gensel is trending right now for some reason. I'm not gonna click on it and find out why, but yeah. So, what am I expecting from the Canadians is a question I'm gonna ask myself. Probably a David Savard trade, if I'm being honest. I'm probably looking at a David Savard trade. Probably to a team like a Winnipeg, who wants a defenseman, who's in the active hunt for a defenseman. My guess is a first round pick coming back, maybe a second, but I think the Habs want a first round pick for David Savard, a first and maybe something else like a sweetener. So right now the way I see it, I think is that the Canadians want to trade David Savard. I've said it earlier, they want to trade only one or the other between him and Armia. I think Armia probably stays. He's a prime penalty killer. Savard is as well, but you look at a guy like Savard, and Carey fits that role pretty well. I personally would probably rather look at trading Armia. But Savard's good trade value right now. Armia probably does too, but once Evans got re-signed, the prime trade target for the Canadians kind of became David Savard. So there's that. Oh shit. Oh. Oh shit. I fell asleep for a second. I'm sorry, boys. Oh shit. I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. No sleep stream. Yeah. Try not to do a sleep stream. Sorry, guys. All right. Grinch. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you for coming by, my good sir. Wolverine Dvorak trade. Yeah. That's actually true. I didn't think about that. I could see a Dvorak trade happening today. My God, is there nobody tweeting right now? Dvorak, I think, probably gets traded. I don't know when. I don't know exactly when, but I mean, obviously, it's hard to predict. Oh, at 12:33, he's gonna get moved. But yeah, at Dvorak trade should happen. It's probably gonna be maybe a third or a fourth. But then again, it's a seller's market. Maybe it's a second. I doubt it gets to a second. Actually, with the seller's market, that's probably going to get you the third round pick. So for me, I would trade Dvorak. I think he's going to get moved. But yeah, we'll see. You never know. I think what the Canadians want is move Dvorak, or at least what I thought was going to happen. Kenzie Lalonde probably knows more than me. I would have assumed that the Canadians want to move Dvorak, acquire a center, someone like a Dylan Cousins, not exactly Dylan Cousins, but someone like him who's got a little bit of term, put him second line center, and then move Beck down to the fourth line. That's what I would have thought they'd want to do. But apparently the Canadians aren't going to be doing too much today, so my guess is Dvorak, maybe Armia. If we're not doing much, then again, of course, the insiders are wrong sometimes, so It could be she says that we're not going to do much, and then we make 5 or 6 trades. You never know. Could have said that we're going to be really active in the trade market, and then we do nothing, maybe. So it can go either way, but we'll see. So why did this quit playing? Okay, that's weird. Alright, give me a second, boys, because I'm going to get a playlist going again. How do I clear the playlist? Clear the playlist, there we go. So yeah, sorry, boys. I've been trying to get background music not been trying to, I have gotten background music on the stream. But for some reason it keeps, stopping partway through. So yeah, I don't know why, but, there we go. So that should be good for now, hopefully. I'll be honest, yeah, I did not have a lot planned for this stream. I'll be honest. I was hoping there'd be stuff left, right, and center. Yeah, there we go, Darren Drager, and that's getting reposted by Puckpedia. Let's go back to the trades that were happening over the past couple days leading into the deadline. So we had Pittsburgh getting Tommy Novak and Luke Schenn. Nashville gets Michael Bunting and a 2026 fourth. Immediately as this trade came out, there were people that were in my Discord, a lot of people even on Twitter, that were saying that they don't expect the Penguins to hold on to these guys. They especially expected Luke Schenn to get moved. And I don't know if that happens. Because for me, I look at this and I think this is the Penguins' way of trying to maybe not buy into the playoffs, but I think it's their way of slightly selling while also getting better, quote unquote. Because you look at it, Bunting and Novak have a similar amount of goals. Bunting has more points. Luke Schenn's a decent third pairing defenseman, very reliable. You're giving up a 4th round pick for that. If you're trading Luke Schenn, you'd have to believe that they can recoup at least a third. Because you wouldn't just go from a 4th round pick to a 4th round pick maybe a year earlier, especially in a weak draft like this year's supposed to be. So for me, I think either they want to deal Tommy Novak, or they genuinely just saw this as a, hey, let's kind of buy and sell. Let's sell Bunting and buy some good players as a result. I already mentioned the Vitek Vanacek trade. Pittsburgh, very active over, well, not very active, but active over the, I think that was, 3 hours actually those two deals were made. They trade Vincent Desharnais to San Jose. He had already been acquired from Vancouver earlier in the year. And Pittsburgh gets a 2028 5th round draft pick. So, yeah, Desharnais just did not work in Vancouver. Worked even less in... I can't even say that. He was, I guess, okay. But yeah, San Jose gets a big boy as a third-pairing defenseman. He can drop the gloves. He's okay. He's not got a lot of speed for his size, but... yeah, Desharnais, decent third-pairing guy, I guess. If he's a day trading asset, I don't see how, but we'll see. I think he'll be okay. He's still got 2 years left after this year, I think, on his deal, so should be all right for San Jose. Hoping best for him. Jersey made a pretty decent splash, acquiring Brian Dumoulin at 50% retention from the Anaheim Ducks in exchange for Herman Truff and a 2025 second-round pick. I like this trade for both teams. Jersey gets a really reliable defenseman, especially for a team that sent down Simon Nemec. And, my God, if Mad Mike was still here, he'd remind me who the other one is. I forget who. The defenseman who led the freaking defenseman in goals for, like, the first month of the season. I forget who it was. But these guys aren't ready, so you're going to want to acquire Brian Dumoulin, especially because, you know, playoffs coming up. You never know who's going to get hurt at any time. You're always going to need guys like Brian Dumoulin to be there and be resilient and be warriors in a way. So, yeah. Florida, Nico Sturm and a 7th round pick. San Jose gets a 2026 4th round pick. Yeah, San Jose making out pretty well in that over these past couple days. I'm expecting them to be fairly active today. Of course, we've seen there's a couple other players that are potentially on the trade block. Luke Kunin. We've heard Mario Ferraro. Jake Wallman, of course, was moved. But we've heard that Mario Ferraro, they're apparently listening in on him. So we'll see what happens there. I'm interested to see if San Jose makes any more big moves like Wallman with, say, Ferraro or Kunin, or if they're more so relying on kind of low-key deals to get those trades made. But Nico Sturm, good depth guy. I don't know if they just really wanted that extra 7th round pick as well, but yeah, 4th round pick to San Jose. They ain't good for a guy that's again a 4th line guy, maybe 3rd liner. I like Nico Sturm, good depth guy. Good to have those guys. Vegas reacquires Riley Smith, 50% retention from the Rangers for Brendan Brisson and a 3rd round pick in 2025. That was originally San Jose's. Yeah, Brendan Brisson was not working out. He had a couple good AHL seasons, but this year it's just not working for him. I believe he had no points. He played, I think, 6 games with the Golden Knights this year, too. Former 1st round pick, so technically it's a 1st and a 3rd, but honestly, with the value, it's more like 2/3. And especially for the Rangers, who I believe paid a 2nd at least to get Riley Smith. That's not looking like a good trade anymore. Well, never really was looking like a good trade, but yeah, Riley Smith going back to Vegas, the place where he had the most success in his career. I like the trade for them. Rangers, maybe Brisson works out. I doubt it. Who knows? But, yeah, I don't think he will. The Rangers then take that 2025 3rd round pick from San Jose, flip it to Vancouver for Carson Soucy. Soucy, reliable, respectable, 3rd pairing defenseman. I like Carson Soucy. Getting overplayed a little bit in Vancouver at times, but he's all right. I like him. Good move here for the Rangers. I quite like it a good bit. Minnesota getting Justin Brazeau from the Boston Bruins for Jakub Lauko, former Bruin who returns to Boston. Mirit Kuznetsov and a 2026 6th round pick. I like Jakub Lauko. That's really all I can say about this trade. And I'm actually going to have to disable the chat here for a second. I apologize, guys. Colorado gets Brock Nelson and William Dufour for the Islanders. From the Islanders, who in return acquire Oliver Shillington, who immediately gets flipped to Anaheim for future considerations. Callum Ritchie, who they keep, a 2026 1st round pick, and a conditional 2028 3rd round pick. I don't know if the conditions been revealed yet, actually, on what that trade is. But, yeah, Brock Nelson, good top 6 talent. Colorado can afford it, especially with Landeskog probably not returning for the rest of the year. It looks like with them acquiring Nelson, That's really what it seems like. Brock Nelson's a good center. He'll be a good second-line center. I think this basically confirms Middlestat will probably be traded. They're at least going to heavily look at dealing him, I would imagine. Again, they get a second-line center in Brock Nelson. What's that mean for their current second-line center? They're not just going to bump him down the lineup. They don't like Middlestat anyways. Management, I should say, don't. The fans seem to really like him. But, yeah, William Dufour, I think, has good potential. He could potentially be a good middle six type guy. Shillington, third pairing defenseman, probably another get your shit together moment by getting flipped to the Ducks. Callum Ritchie, I think played a couple NHL games actually at the start of the year. Should be pretty good. I would imagine he fits well in their second line in the future for the Islanders. That first round pick is huge in acquiring Brock Nelson because if the bottom falls out for the Avs next year, that ends up being a pretty damn good pick, especially with no condition on that. And then a 2028 third round pick. I'm assuming it's conditional on if Brock signs and becomes a second. That's what I'd assume that type of condition is. So, yeah, let's go back to the trade track. Oh, sorry, wrong one. Let's go back to the trade deadline here, and let's see what's going on. We got 10 posts, so maybe we've got something going on here. We've got, we got something from Rene Lavoie about the Montreal Canadiens. So, at this point in the proceedings, it is perhaps worth noting that Colorado is prohibited from reacquiring Rantanen this season because of the retained salary transaction rules. This is true, even though it was Chicago. Really? Okay, so even if Colorado wanted to, they couldn't go out and reacquire Rantanen. Shit, that's exciting. Yep, there we go. Callum Ritchie, and then Cole Eisman with a hat trick for the Boston Terriers. Good for him. The Islanders prospect pool is all of a sudden looking quite good. As if it needs to be backing up until there absolutely is a trade done. And then, Gregory Balak saying what, oh, well, there we go. I don't care what anyone says. There's a trade. They have a trade done. So, there is a trade done. That is, damn. This is going to be exciting. So all you clowns coming at me last night has not learned a thing. The year's not done till it's done. I don't know. I wouldn't go after fans, NHL watcher. Oh my god, gotta take a sip of my Pepsi. It's about to spill over. Conditional picture trade. Yes. Alright. So what is Renaud Lavoie saying? Really looking forward to the Canadiens' day with the playoff race alive and well. Will Kent Hughes be tempted to trade a player who becomes the UFA on July 1st? With the team's recent success, that would be surprising, but with the market being very expensive right now, I would be very surprised if the Habs were a buyer. Still, if bargains present themselves between now and 3, why not? Okay, so not really anything, more so just an opinion. Yeah, I can see that. Like, shit, I would not mind at all seeing the Canadiens be a potential buyer. Especially if the time is right, which I think it could be. Now, I'm not saying that, you gotta go out and get Elias Pettersson, pay your entire future to get Elias Pettersson, for example. But if, say, Sidney Crosby, for example, if Sidney Crosby's made available by the Penguins, all it takes is, say, a first-round pick and a third, or equivalent to that. I'll be honest, if I was the Canadiens GM, I would at least consider that. Especially as a second-line center in Sidney Crosby, dude. Like, whew. That would be some good shit to have Sidney Crosby on the Canadiens. You know? Fans have wanted him for so long. Basically ever since he was drafted in 05, the draft lottery. Montreal was really hoping they'd win, get Sidney Crosby. They only ended up with the second-best player in the draft as consolation. For me, I look at this, and I think the Canadiens, I don't think they're going to be buyers, but I think they are going to be technically standing pat. They're going to trade Dvorak and then one of Armia and Savard, I should say. But I think they could end up, like I said, if they have a defenseman that they can replace Savard with, deal Savard and then get that extra defenseman. I think that's what they'd want to do, probably. Now, obviously, that other defenseman would have to be cheaper than David Savard. What the ask is for David Savard, I should say. It might be a more expensive contract, but, You know, think like Tyler Myers when he was getting paid that $6 million and he was a third pairing defenseman. Like, if it's something like that, maybe not necessarily that bad, but like if it's, say, a guy who's making like $5 million on a third pair, Canadians can afford it, they could probably go for it by that point. Bars. So yeah, probably could start putting some stuff up here. Again, Provorov not being traded by the Blue Jackets. Oh, this is... See, I don't know what to put up here. Because you look at it, for example, like, oh, I could put that Farabee, you know, for example, oh, Farabee, where is it? Farabee, oh, not Farabee, it's Lawton, sorry. I see, like, several teams in on him. I'll be honest, I might get off camera in a little bit, maybe at like either 9:30 or 10, I'll decide. I think what I'll do is I'll get off camera, have the background music going, and maybe I'll just like get an hour of sleep. But if I wake up or anything like that, I'll keep updating. Like, for example, I'll put up like just a splash page of this, maybe that's what I'll do. I don't know if that's for sure what I will do, but I think that could work, especially just for like an hour or two. And then like I come back on when there's a trade, like I think that could work potentially, especially because there's not many people here. There's definitely not as many people as there were last year. I think even by this point, 9:30 something like that, we were getting 180 people or 80 to 100 people at one time. So me not uploading recently has really fucked me over, unfortunately. But yeah, I know there's something other than Scott Lawton that I wanted to put up here. And unfortunately, I don't think I can remember what it was. I probably will soon. Oh, Winnipeg. Looking for forward and defense. Yeah, there we go. Not exactly how I wanted to put that, but whatever. It's good enough. Let's see if there's anything else on Twitter. Oh, I think he just tweeted the same thing in English, Renee LeBlanc. At least I think he did. What are the expectations for the day of the Canadians? Yeah, I think, yeah. Okay, so just for direct translation, what are the expectations today for the Canadians with the team pushing for a playoff spot right now? Wonder if Ken Hughes will be tempted to trade one of his players that will be a UFA in July. I believe that the way the team is playing, status quo is a strong possibility. The market is expensive, so I don't believe there'll be buyers. But if a player's price is going down by 3 p.m., Habs management will probably think hard about it, so... Okay, so you know what? I'm interested. Oh, we'll see where it goes on Brad Marchand. I think it can go either way, signed or traded, but I don't think Colorado is a likely landing spot now, mostly based on the assets spent late last night. I'm assuming late last night is what he meant to say, on Brock Nelson. So... there we go. That's something we could put down. So just right now, it's just either option is possible. Brad Marchand, that he could either get traded or get signed. So imagine Brad Marchand in Winnipeg. Don't know if it happens, but that almost sounds like it could. Winnipeg and Brad Marchand. So, yeah. But Scott Lawton, several teams being on him. See, I can't even make predictions right now because it's almost too early to tell. Like, you know Winnipeg wants a forward and a defenseman. You know Toronto's looking at a forward. You know Montreal wants to move a couple guys. Or one of a couple guys. You know there's teams that kind of what they want. LA is apparently looking at moving Brandt Clark. I should have mentioned when his name passed by a couple times, but here we go. It's moving across the screen now. But you look at a guy like, again, Brandt Clark in Los Angeles. I don't think Montreal is going to go in on him because I think LA wants to buy. So I think Brandt Clark, for example, would be a part of a David Savard trade, I'd imagine. Maybe it's a 1-for-1 at that point. I don't know, but Brandt Clark's value really is in the NHL right now, but... yeah, there's guys getting moved. Brad Marchand, if I'm being honest, it would genuinely be weird to see Marchand in any other jersey. To be fair, Just as it was weird seeing Ray Bourque in a Colorado jersey at first, as weird as it was to see Wayne Gretzky in a Kings jersey for the first couple times, you know, seeing Brad Marchand. I'm not saying that Brad Marchand's on the level of those players, but just with how long he spent with the Boston Bruins, literally his entire professional career, it would be weird to see him go put on, say, a Winnipeg jersey or like Friedman's mentioning, Pierre LeBrun's mentioning a Colorado jersey. That would be weird. But circa Ray Bourque in 2000, it would almost work. Oh my god. I don't know what the fuck's going on. For like the last like 3 sentences, I've had like a strep throat. Not strep throat, because it's not like but it's hard to describe it. Maybe if I drink some water it'll help. But it's almost like there's like a sharpness in my throat when I talk. Oh, it was just coming back there for a second. You know, maybe being in VC for like 5 hours, maybe being in VC for 5 hours, 4 hours before I went live, maybe that wasn't such a good idea. Maybe that wasn't a good idea to be in VC a couple hours before live stream and then try to fix your DVD collection half an hour before stream. Probably wasn't the best idea, if we're being completely honest, boys. Yeah, okay, so I do think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and, in a couple minutes, I'm going to turn the webcam off for now, and what I'm going to do is, the webcam and the mic I'm going to turn off, I think, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up the trade thing, I'm going to put up the trade bait like usual, and I'm just going to write a little message saying, like, I'll be back, say at 11, for example, or when a trade breaks, voice is very sore, something like that, or, like, voice is going out, so, like, I don't want to just be here, like, you know, waiting for stuff to happen. I'd rather just, have you guys know what's going on, and just let you guys enjoy the wonderful sounds of NHL 2002. That's what the song is playing right now. Never mind, it is WWF SmackDown 2, Know Your Role, actually. I minimized it when it first came up, so... Yeah, So yeah, Marchand might end up being traded. That would be interesting. Oh, there we go. We got NHL 2K7. I don't know how well you guys can hear this, but yeah. So yeah, what I'm gonna do, like I said, boys, is I'm gonna grab everything that I can. Oh shit. Okay, I gotta redo this. I'm gonna grab what I can, like I said, and grab the chat because the chat's important. And I'm gonna create a new scene in a second. So if it goes completely blank, then yeah, don't worry. Yeah, it's gonna be fine. So let me just create a new scene. Rest up TDL. Oh, there we go. Okay, so you guys can still hear me. So I'm just gonna make this a little bigger. What I'm gonna do is I'll do this. TLD updates. So actually, what I'd like to do is do that so that way it looks a little more HD. We're doing this big boy style, boys. We're doing this the hardwired way. Please don't tell me we went back down to 36. Okay, no, it looks a little crispier. Alright, so this is how we do it. This is how I do it. No. What if I do it like that? Okay, maybe I'm gonna have to up that a little then. Oh, yeah, I guess that looks good. Yeah, I'll just, put that over here for now. There we go. So like I said, boys, I'm going to update this. I'm going to mute for a bit. I will create the new not image text file just to update that. Like I said, I'm gonna turn the mic off, turn the webcam off at 9:30. So in about 44 seconds, I will look to see what the new post is. It's just daily face-off tweeting, real quick. So yeah. Alrighty, so there we go. So we got that going on right there. So yeah, boys. Like I said, I will be up. I will be on Twitter. I'm gonna try not to fall asleep. I'll be updating things, and when it looks like a trade is gonna break or at 11 a.m., I will come back full time. So yeah, thank you guys. If you guys are sticking around for the stream, much appreciated. And I'll be back soon. I say this, and I'm gonna... Yeah. If you guys got any questions, I'll answer them, though, in the chat, so don't worry. And, yeah, I will be back. So, hopefully a trade breaks in the next, 10 minutes, because that'd be really fun. I'll be back. Well, I said I'd be back, didn't I? um, Jay Fresh tweeted out that there's a rumor that the Hurricanes. Oh my god! Shit, I didn't realize that. This would look so bad. See you at 11 here. Hey, thank you, Marcus. I appreciate it. Thank you for reaching out. Yeah, I didn't realize that this would be like this, so I apologize, but it does look a lot better. Yeah. So there's apparently a rumor that the Hurricanes would flip what return they get for Rantanen for Pettersson. By God, if that happens, that would be phenomenal. That would be insane. And you know what? I'd love to see it. I think that'd be crazy. Yeah, it's not a breaking trade. I did lie. My apologies. But, yeah. So I just wanted to talk about that for a second. Yeah, I will be back again at some point. I will... Yeah, enjoy yourselves for now. Alright, going voiceover mode for a second. Other fronts are being explored with Rantanen, it appears.
We're going to turn this rink into a giant mud bog.
Alrighty, well, that took longer than I thought to come back, but we have another trade. The Senators and the Sabres are talking a trade that involves Josh Norris and Jacob Bernard Docker. Yeah, so that's kind of crazy. You know, so yeah. I'm very sorry, boys, but I'm still very groggy. I got up like 5 minutes ago. Unfortunately, I'm gonna end it here. I would love to keep going, but I'm still a bit groggy. And yeah, maybe what I'll do is I'll do a couple hardwired shorts when trades start coming out. I really apologize. I was really hoping to keep going on this trade deadline, but I apologize, guys. So there's other people that are doing the trade deadline. Maybe I'll watch the stream as well. I don't know, but I apologize, guys. I'm gonna be heading out. I'm still a bit groggy, so thank you guys for coming by. I appreciate it.